Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night, wherever it is in your country. And welcome to the live. Happy birthday to anybody, birthday out there. We want to get into Jam Master Jay. Now, a lot of y'all young people don't know who Jam Master Jay is. And a happy Sunday morning, I apologize. Um, Jam Master Jay MC, you got Run DMC, and then you have Jam Master Jay, the one who be playing the music in the back. Well, y'all, let me tell you something. Most of these crime that we've been covering over here on Miss Real Deal Crime channel, it always got to be your kin folks or somebody close to you that is envy of you. They tried to rob this man, and they did rob him. And it was a long-time friend of Jam Master Jay. And it was his godson that took his life. Why, people? Why? Jesus. But let's listen to this.
The trial continues today. Janice?
Good morning, Mike. Yeah, more than 2 decades have gone by since that trailblazing artist was shot and killed. And today, inside of a federal courtroom here in Brooklyn, 2 of the men accused in his death will be there for opening statements. Prosecutors allege Ronald Washington and Carl Jordan Jr. killed Jam Master Jay back in 2002. The 2 men allegedly shot and killed the Run DMC star inside the hip-hop group's recording studio on Merrick Boulevard in Queens. And for the last 20 or so years, rewards were offered, tips were investigated, but prosecutors say it wasn't until the last 5 years when the case took crucial strides. They interviewed new people, got witnesses to cooperate, and more ballistics tests were done. As for the motive, prosecutors say Jay was going to cut Washington out of a drug deal, though Jay's family insists he wasn't involved in drugs. Jam Master Jay was 37 at the time of his murder.
37.
Run DMC brought hip-hop to the mainstream in the mid-1980s. The first rappers with gold and platinum albums, a Rolling Stone cover, and the first with a video on MTV. Now, authorities do say a 3rd person was arrested in connection to his murder. His trial...
And you know what, y'all? At this man's studio. At this man's studio, y'all. His godson.
You brought this kingdom together, and it will stay together.
His own godson. His own godson. He went for 37 when this happened. 37. Jam Master Jay. Just because they were going to cut him out of a deal. And then what the godson got to do with this? Let's finish listening to this, y'all. I'm surprised I ain't heard nothing about this.
Master Jay murder trial picking up again today, but an unexpected twist. The jury forced to start from square one.
Yeah, our Jay Dow has been following the trial from day one. Now, Jay, can you tell us why deliberations really had to start all over?
Start over.
Well, Aaron and Candace, this was supposed to be the second day of deliberations, right? Thursday was the first day. But as soon as we got into court this morning, there was a note sent in by the foreperson of the jury relating a note from juror number 12.
who said that he needed to be excused, was requesting to be excused because he was, quote, too connected. He worked in Hollis. He visited the barber shop that was not far away from Jam Master Jay, real name Jason Mizell's music studio in South Jamaica, Queens. The judge then held a 10-minute sidebar with all of the attorneys that was followed by a 50-minute closed behind-the-scenes meeting directly with that juror. And then everyone came back out, and the judge announced that she had excused juror number 12 and then immediately slid in the first alternate, brought the jury in and instructed them that they didn't need to worry about why juror number 12 was excused, and they needed to restart the deliberations today since that new alternate was coming in. Fortunately, the old jury didn't lose that much time. They were already just one day in on deliberations. This was supposed to be the second. So now this is deliberation day 1 with this new jury. This new jury has already requested the readback of direct testimony from one witness. Now, last week, if you recall, the jury initially requested the readback of several witnesses. They thought they were just going to be able to get the printed transcripts of testimony. The judge instructed them, no, you would have to sit there and listen to the court reporter verbally read back. So then they scaled that back. The jury seemingly very judicious now about which testimony readbacks they request. So far, just one today. They were supposed to wrap up within the next half hour or so. I came down here to do this live shot. The judge told both sides, the prosecution and the defense, that she would not be surprised if the jury told them that they were going to wrap up soon and continue tomorrow. Candace, Arnie?
Jay, I got to be honest, I just don't get it. Why is juror number 12's conflict just coming to light now?
That's what I'm saying.
We really don't know. There's an extensive list of questions that all prospective.
So that juror sit there and listen to the whole thing and then decided to tell the truth. That he know, nah, man, he need to be charged with that. These folks getting away with too much for me.
Are asked. This is a process, right? The defense and the prosecution are asking all of these questions, and there's a lot of negotiation, there's bargaining, there's give and take. They settle on a final jury. There were specific questions to each juror posed about their connections to Hollis, and the judge's position was, if this was a small town, everyone is going to be familiar with a lot of the parties. That doesn't necessarily rise to the threshold of being able to be excused. We don't know the circumstances in this case, but whatever that juror told the judge was compelling enough for the judge to grant that request. And now we have this alternate, 4 alternates in total. One of them now slid in this juror's place, and we have the restart of deliberations.
Oh, man, y'all full of mess. I don't know, look like the court changes. But y'all, I'm gonna tell y'all, Run DMC. Now y'all, some
everything I do,
some of y'all and I know them. And I will be honest with you. Listen.
Hey, it's me, your dry skin. I'm craving something we're missing.
Y'all, a lot of y'all were young when
it was getting very big when
and I'm gonna be honest with you. This is the girl that the girl that is going with P. Diddy. Now, I hope your good friend of P. Diddy, that's her daddy. What's the girl name, y'all? Well, anyway, Reverend Run was with Grandmaster Run DMC. And that was his 37-year-old musician, DJ.
DMC was there, but now it's on everywhere you go, you hear hip hop. You turn on the television, Snoop Dogg is right there. You turn the channel, it's Snoop Dogg again. So it's like we're much more accessible, more global, more pop than ever.
I thought that was the news.
I'm not even thinking how big this can be. I'm thinking, this is huge. I'm on the radio, Mom. That's how I felt. So you put on the radio and you hear your record.
What's the girl name, y'all, who go with
So if somebody comes along and says, well, what are you going to be doing 10 years from now? Like,
not P. Diddy, not go with P. Diddy, go with,
I couldn't hear those judgments.
What's the rapper name?
Having too much fun, being grateful.
His
And
brother
you
got
mentioned
shot.
Live Aid and
I
how
can't
big
think.
that moment was for the entire group, but do you think that
Wake that ass up in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's Steve.
Run DMC.
It was getting very.
The day before Halloween.
I do.
Oh yeah.
Wasn't there a shooting in your life that affected you?
Yeah, Jam Master Jay. It was very hurtful for me. I was in church during that time. You know, I had to have a lot of faith during that time.
Did they find
There
out
she
who
go.
killed him?
That's her daddy.
But I have faith that everything will come to a head soon. And
Go with
I come from
young
Hollis, Queens, and it's just a reality that I grew up in.
What did go with? She go with I can't think of each other name. I can't remember each other name. Can't nobody remember their name. But
CEO of Island Def Jam Records gathered outside, stunned that it happened to the man who was such a huge part of hip-hop's rise and worldwide popularity, and shocked, too, that it all went down in such a brazen manner. The gunman walking in, firing, and then just casually walking out. Police believe they have good leads in this case, and that witnesses got a good look at the shooter here. There's also security camera tape, we are told. Mizell was at the studio producing an album by two young women. They were in the studio when they heard gunshots. They came running, of course, but it was too late. Again, sources confirming Jam Master Jay, Jason Mizell, from the rap group Run DMC, was gunned down here about 9:15 tonight. Another man was...
It bad enough, y'all. It was his godson. It was his godson. That's the sad part about it. I did not hear nothing about this. I did not hear nothing about this. Let me hear what they got the tragedy loss Jam Master
The jury forced to
Jay
start
King from Queens.
Yeah, our Jay Gal has been following the trial from...
I didn't see the trial. I'm trying to pull up the trial.
Paycheck and the insurance policy?
It was all.
Wait a minute. Hold up, y'all. I couldn't find the trial. I looked for the trial for y'all. And for myself, I couldn't find the trial.
21-year-old unsolved murder catching fire today.
I didn't see it. This shocked me, y'all. I didn't know nothing about this. I be all on other live until I didn't hear nothing about this.
Today, the trial in hip-hop legend Jam Master Jay's killing, bringing
He won for
explosive
37.
in the case against two of the men charged with taking the life of the Run DMC DJ, Jason Mizell.
It was jaw-dropping for me to finally hear the narrative of what his friends and family have been asking for 20 plus years. No one has really been able to piece together, which is what prosecutors have done so far in the first 3 days of this trial.
Carl Jordan Jr. and Ronald Washington pleading not guilty and denying all charges. Jordan's attorney saying his client was at his girlfriend's house at the time of the shooting. Uriel, also known as Tony Rincon, who was in the studio with Jay when he was shot in the head, is finally speaking out.
First of all, he sobbed the entire time.
He actually got emotional.
He sobbed.
Wow.
There were just tears streaming down his face.
Rincon himself was wounded in the gunfire, shot in the leg, giving chilling details in court today of a cold-blooded murder as Rincon pointed across the room to Jordan.
Now, Jordan's family...
Darla Miles, a reporter for ABC7, has covered the case extensively and was inside the courtroom.
You got a visual in your head of maybe what Jam Master Jay's face was at the time. It just painted a very vivid picture of when he described that Jam Master Jay's body fell. It left an impression upon me that I will not forget.
Washington's lawyer questioning Rincon's reliability, saying the case was held together with tape and glue. It's the latest decades-old, high-profile hip-hop murder case.
Y'all think that Jam Master Jay was 50 or 60. No, he was the youngest at that time of his death. He was 37.
Solution.
This
my recital.
In the
Hey.
1980s, Run DMC was the essence of hip hop, with songs like It's Tricky.
Yeah, I remember that song. I can't play that music. I remember that song. That was a good song right there, y'all. Hold on. Let me make sure they ain't playing no music. Run DMC. I can't think of that boy's name.
Climbing to the top of the charts, the first of the genre to do so.
They were the blueprint for a lot of what we are experiencing in hip hop right now. In fact, I don't know that we have hip hop at the level that we have hip hop without Run DMC and Jam Master Jay.
I remember that. Let me turn this and let me put this on mute so I won't get the copyright. But I remember that song. What's that? That boy named that go with that girl.
The trio, known for their sporting rope chains, shell-toe Adidas with no laces, fedora hats, and thick rimmed glasses, ushering in a new era of fashion.
There was not one person that I can think of that I know who lived in the mid-'80s who did not try and replicate that look.
But it wasn't just their cultural mainstream impact. They used their street cred to push the 1980s anti-drug message.
When it comes to drugs, only one word counts. No. Just say no.
By the early 2000s, hip-hop fans and the industry had moved on from Run DMC. And according to prosecutors, that's when Jay turned to the drug trade.
Jam Master Jay was supporting friends, supporting family, helping pull people out of poverty. And it became a situation where helping was somewhat of a financial liability more than he can gain assets. To this day, Jam Master Jay's family denies that he had any connection to drug dealing.
After an alleged $200,000 cocaine deal went bad, prosecutors say Jordan and Washington entered Jay's recording studio in Queens, New York, and shot the hip-hop icon dead, leaving his wife and children behind.
We thank everybody
Wife and children.
for all their support.
Don't know her dad, don't.
And we'll get through this.
A star-studded funeral with thousands lined up to pay their respects.
This is how it ends for Jason Mizell. His casket encased in glass, pulled by two horses.
It took until 2020 for an indictment to come.
And we have alleged that two defendants, Carl Jordan Jr. and Ronald...
His own godson and his friend, long childhood friend. Oh,
Washington are responsible for the murder of Jason Mizell, who's known to many of us as Jam Master Jay.
Today, Tony Rincon saying on the stand, he kind of walked directly to Jay and gave, like, half a handshake with an arm. And at the same time, that's when I hear a couple of shots, adding, and I see Jay just fall. The prosecution claiming each defendant was proud that they had taken down Jam Master Jay and got away with it, painting a picture of what happened that night more than 2 decades ago. Many wondering why it's taken so long.
People taking their time to come forward would actually be about fear. You might not fear the person 20, 30, some odd years later, or you just grown apart and you feel safer because you're no longer in that environment, or just the guilt, just knocking and knocking and knocking.
Highlighting a reality that many communities face across America.
The relationship between the NYPD and individuals in Hollis, Queens over the last 2 or 3 decades is strenuous at best. And so being truthful with them or believing that they will solve these crimes make it difficult for them to try to coordinate an investigation. But over time, people talk and cases get solved.
Yeah,
Everything
they
was
do.
from someone from Queens paying homage to Jam Master Jay in the courtroom. He was their neighborhood hero, and he was the architect of so much of hip-hop culture.
Y'all, this the first time, this the first time I heard about this. This is the first time I ever heard about Run DMC, Jam Master Jay being shot. I guess I'd be so busy doing so much, I didn't even know nothing about this. This what really shocked me. I didn't even see his trial.
Outside a court in Lower Manhattan with these breaking
I didn't.
details. Erica.
That's right, Natalie. There are actually two defendants in this case. Both of them were found guilty on the two counts that are in this case. One of them related to a drug conspiracy charge and murder. The other one related to a weapons charge in addition to that murder. The person they are accused of murdering is Jam Master Jay. He is the prolific hip-hop DJ associated with the group Run DMC. Tell you this trial lasted about a month or so. There were some fireworks actually after this verdict was read inside the courtroom today. This happened today around 3:30 this afternoon. One of the defendants jumped up and he said, "Y'all just killed some innocent people," and then he shouted, "Get me out of here." As he was being escorted out of the courtroom, the other co-defendant in this case, he yelled out, "I love y'all," addressing his family that was there in the courtroom. And then we heard many of his family members start yelling things back, like the jury didn't listen to the facts in this case. A woman yelled out, "That's my son." We started hearing, "Don't touch me." You all know he didn't do that. That is when the U.S. Marshals swooped in. There was some pushing. There was a little bit of shoving. And then they escorted all of those family members out of the courtroom. So it was kind of chaotic there at the very end. But again.
You know what? They didn't even show the trial. I ain't see the trial. They didn't show the trial. They should have showed the trial.
This case revolves around the murder of Jam Master Jay. He was killed in October of 2002. He was actually in his Queens recording studio at the time. For years, the two eyewitnesses to this crime, they refused to say what they saw. Both Lydia High and Tony Rincon testified, though, at this trial. They told the jurors that they saw two gunmen that night. They say that Jam Master Jay's godson, Carl Jordan Jr., pulled the trigger, and Jay's good friend, childhood buddy, Ronald Washington.
Godson. Your godson. Somebody you stayed behind, who you looked after. But how did the long childhood friend come in there? Because they were going to get Jam Master Jay, didn't want him no more. He done got old.
And was the one at the door with another gun. High and Rincon's testimony obviously must have been quite an impact here on this jury. They said for a long time they didn't speak up and say what they knew at the time because they were scared, they were afraid for their lives. The federal prosecutors in this case ultimately charged 3 people in addition to Jordan and Washington. They charged a third man who's going to be tried separately. That person was also there at the scene, but they say he was just a decoy that night so that Jordan and Washington could slip inside that recording studio and kill Jam Master Jay. The prosecutor said all along they think the motive for this was greed and revenge because Mizell, that is Jam Master Jay's real name, Jason Mizell, cut Jordan and Washington out of a drug deal. So again, this jury made this decision, and just a short time ago, and actually right now, maybe it just wrapped up seconds ago, a family member of Jam Master Jay was here and he was speaking to the media. Here's what he told us.
Jason himself was an amazing talent. Life ended far too soon. And I'm just glad that justice was served.
So for most of this trial, he sat there right there in the front row, sitting probably the closest out of all of us to the jury. I was normally in the second or third row, and I saw him taking notes. He is one of 2 cousins who are here. That is because Jam Master Jay's immediate family, all of them are deceased. So he said he wanted to be here as representative for what is happening with this family. I told you about the chaos that happened in the courtroom. We have not seen those family members of defendant Jordan come out yet. We're waiting to see what will happen there. But again, very chaotic at the end. We're waiting to see what happened, and we are expecting.
Wow, I can't find the trial, y'all. I would like to see the trial. I don't miss out on no trial, and they couldn't show it. They didn't show it. They didn't show the trial. They didn't show it.
Begin with that breaking news. A verdict in the trial against 2 men accused of killing Jam Master Jay.
Both men found guilty on all counts. The jury coming to this decision nearly 22 years after the legendary DJ was shot and killed in Queens.
Both men were found guilty on all counts. And look at him looking at the camera. Jesus.
CBS 2's Jessica Moore has been inside the courtroom, rather. She's outside now. She's been there since the beginning of the trial. She's live there with details and reaction from the family. Jessica.
Well, Maurice and Christine, the government's case focused on greed and revenge, a simple execution over a drug deal gone wrong. And while many people say today's verdict brings closure, others say that closure comes at a price. The jury spent
a drug deal? Is this all because a drug deal? What do a long time friend has to do with Jam Master Jay and the godson? Then he was in the studio working with two girls. Why?
Days deliberating one of the most elusive murders in hip-hop history.
Although it appeared that the case had gone cold and would not be solved, law enforcement never wavered.
Y'all see how they do cases? I always told y'all, no matter how many years it been, if you got some witness that want to come up, they would open up that case. And that's what they found. That's what the family, and his family died. But he still got Run DMC, yeah.
Determination to bring Mr. Meisel's killers to justice. It's no mystery why it took years to indict and arrest the defendants. Right. The witnesses in the recording studio knew the killers, and they were terrified that they would be retaliated against if they cooperated with law enforcement.
Eyewitnesses testified that Meisel's godson, Carl Jordan Jr., murdered him inside his Hollis, Queens recording studio on October 30th, 2002, while his childhood friend, Ronald Washington, guarded the door with a gun. But the month-long trial revealed parts of Meisel's life that the hip-hop icon tried to keep out of the public eye, mainly his role in trafficking cocaine. Prosecutors say when Meisel cut Jordan and Washington out of a deal to sell coke in Baltimore, they conspired to kill him with the help of a third suspect, Jay Bryant. Does this justice come at a price?
Well, yes. The answer, yes. Because I didn't know, just like the rest of y'all didn't know.
I didn't either.
We wasn't grew up like that. That's not where we was raised.
Defense attorneys called only one witness, a memory expert who testified to the crux of their case. The only things connecting Jordan and Washington to Meisel's murder were aging memories. The defense also tried to pin the murder on third suspect, Jay Bryant. Jordan and Washington now face 20 years to life in federal prison. Defense attorneys have already vowed to appeal the conviction. Live outside the Brooklyn Federal Courthouse, Jessica Moore, CBS 2 News. Jess, you've been covering this case.